Welcome, everyone, to Truro Town Council's Public Council meeting for Monday, May the 4th, 2026. Before we begin our agenda today, I, Kathy J. Henton, Mayor for the Town of Truro, acknowledge our Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. We acknowledge the peace and friendship treaties and recognize we are all treaty people. We recognize African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose histories, legacies, and contributions have greatly enriched this part of Mi'kma'ki, known as Nova Scotia, for over 400 years. We recognize the Acadians, who live in harmony with the Mi'kmaq, whose communities across the province are a living testament to the fortitude of their ancestors who survived the Grand Derangement. Today, as both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, we commit to seek harmonious and mutually beneficial relationships. We give thanks to the elders and knowledge keepers. Special day today because before we begin our hearing, we are pleased to present two works chosen at the Truro Art Acquisition Show held at the Nova Scotia Community College in April. Both Councillor Deb Pryor and Deputy Mayor Bill Thomas are on the Art Acquisition Committee, and Deputy Mayor Thomas today will be making the presentations. This year's show had more entries than any other year in history, and today we are going to welcome two talented artists. And the first one is the artist who won in the painting and photography category, Nancy Crow Sampson. Come on up, Nancy. Nancy's painting was entitled Days We Have Left Behind. It's a beautiful painting. And Nancy, would you like to say a couple words about your painting?
I think the thing that I've found a lot of people...
Just use this here.
Oh, thank you.
Just hold it, yeah, right about there, and about that part.
Many people didn't know where, what the painting was of, where it was located. So it would be found on Inglis Street, and this two-bay garage would butt up against the wall of Margolian's that's still standing. So those people who were young didn't recognize it because it was torn down before they were born, or people who moved to the area said, you know, there wasn't a trace of what they were seeing. They couldn't, you know, relate to anything. And of course, I made the error of calling it Days We Have Left Behind. So that still wasn't helpful. My intention was to capture a warm summer evening in Truro at the corner of Inglis Street and the Esplanade. The sun sets on another day, and the kind taxi driver waits patiently for another fare. His taxi stand is located in the unique gas station owned by Irving Oil. It was built in the 1920s and was later demolished in 1993. The building behind it was the office for Irving. Looming large across the Esplanade stands the stately and very impressive third train station for Truro, built in 1912 by Wilson's Construction. This impressive structure made of Wallace red sandstone at a cost of $200,000. It was one of the finest and the largest stations in eastern Canada. It was demolished in 1971. Added in an old car just for fun, and that's what it is and where it is.
Thank you very much.
It really is a delightful piece of work. I've done a little bit of watercolor, and enough to know that I can't do it. But this is just wonderful. It just really looks like midday, and yeah, just wonderful. I know that when I moved to town here 43 years ago, the taxi and Irving station was there. Sadly, the railway station was gone by then, but it was a lovely corner in town, and everybody knew it. And but it's a really nice work. The frame just beautiful. You know, we looked at, there's 65 entries. And of those 65, in paintings, et cetera, there's paintings in mixed art and carvings, but yours was number one, chosen pretty much unanimously. So, yeah, it's really nice. It's a beautiful piece of work. So I want to congratulate you, Nancy. There's a cash prize as well as this memorandum for you, or memorial for you to keep. And I'll just present that to you now. It says, the town of Truro is pleased to congratulate Nancy Crow Sampson, the 2026 Truro Art Acquisition Show recipient, for their one watercolor entitled Days We've Left Behind. Congratulations. Thank you.
Nancy, we're going to get a picture of you and with your painting there, and my wonderful assistant Stephanie Rowe is going to take that picture.
Okay. Maybe I'll stand on the other side. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much.
And the second one, do you have a reading about this as well, Mayor?
You're going to do this one as well. So,
Yes.
in the other media category, the work is done a mixed media on paper, and the chosen artist this year is Amy Ballett with her submission entitled In the Clearing. And Amy, if you'd like to just say a few words about your piece.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say just how incredible this piece of work is. It's very complex. It appears very complex and very difficult to do. And anybody who's seen it, the color, the use of light, it's really a marvelous piece of work. Plus, the frame really makes it stand out. It's really well done. So if you'd like to talk about it, it'd be wonderful. Yeah.
This work represents sort of my happy place, you know, nature within nature and color. And it brings together feelings of magical spaces. And this looks like my backyard, which is off of James Street, and the brook is at the bottom, and the deer come up and say hi to me all the time. And yeah, I paint what I want to see. Right. And
well, you live in quite a wonderful world.
thank you. I certainly do. Being in Truro.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And the thing is, can you just talk about some of the work it takes to do this? Because it seems multi-layered.
Yes, it's done in layers. I usually start with an underpainting of a bright, vibrant color that I want to come through the work. Then it's probably I can't remember the exact steps, but it's followed by layers of, let's say the trees would go in next, and they might just be dripped in. I won't necessarily paint them with my brush. So I like to allow some things to happen naturally and some things to be more controlled. So there's the tension between the two things, hopefully, in the work. Also, there's a lot of things that take a lot of time to do, and there's also things that take a short amount of time. And I get into the weeds, into all the little detail, and there's influences from indigenous sources. Hopefully, I've honored them in that. But there's also modern art in there as well, color field paintings and such. And then hopefully it comes together to be me.
Right. Well, it's really exceptional, and anybody should really take the time just to study it because it's quite incredible. This is a cash prize for you, and as well, like to present you with an award. The award says the town of Truro is pleased to congratulate Amy Ballett, the 2026 Truro Art Acquisition Show recipient for the mixed media piece entitled In the Clearing. There you are. Congratulations.
Nancy, if you want to come up, we'll get a picture all together.
Why don't you stand in front of the mayor?
Yep. There we go.
Stand beside.
Thank you, Amy.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Well
much.
done. Yeah.
I want to, yes, thank you so much. And thank you for explaining your vision and how you created your work. And it's lovely to hear. And thank you, Deputy, for saying there's something you can't do, and that's watercolors. I thought you could do anything. So thank you for that. Thank you so much. We're so proud to have both of these pieces as part of the permanent Truro Art Collection. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Now we're going to enter into a public hearing this afternoon. This is a public hearing for Monday, May 4th, 2026 for 219 Queen Street. Arkham Developments Limited and WM Fairs, PID numbers 2028-6288, 2019-6804, 2048-6270, and 2033-5377. This is a development application. Has this been advertised, Mr. Dolter?
Yes, Madam Mayor, the public hearing notice was advertised on the Truro's website and on social media. Details regarding the application have also been placed on the town's website under current development applications.
And do we have any correspondence?
Just from the TPAC recommending that the application go forward and recommended for approval.
Thank you very much. So we're going to begin with a report from the Planning Department, and then there'll be an opportunity for council for questions and persons in the council chamber, if there is any, pertaining to this development. I'd ask if the representative for this development would like to come down and just have a seat in case there's going to be questions. Thank you very much, and welcome, Mr. Salara. Very welcome to have you here. And our Director of Planning, Jason Fox, is going to be presenting the report today. So, Mr. Fox, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is an application for, as already mentioned, for 219 Queen Street. It's an amendment to a development agreement. It's a pretty straightforward application. It is an application by WM Fairs Limited on behalf of Arkham Developments. The application was made back in January 21st, 2026. The application is to convert the vacant ground floor commercial space in an existing mixed-use building at 219 Queen Street into 2 dwelling units. So the application, this development will require an amendment to the March 2016 development agreement, which was previously amended itself back in May of 2022. This agreement, as amended, permitted a 4-story multi-unit residential building containing 35 units at 209 Queen. There was a new mixed-use building containing 28 units and up to 500 square meters of commercial space at 219 Queen Street. And there was the repurposing of the former Colchester County Jail into 5 dwelling units. And there was also a parking lot at 24 Bayview. This application is going through the short process, the 4-step process the town has. It's at step 3 now, which is the main public engagement and public hearing. The subject lands are situated, as I mentioned, off Queen Street. They include 209 Queen, 215 Queen, 219 Queen, and 24 Bayview. The subject properties have a total area of around 7,800 square meters. This is a view showing the existing building at 219 Queen Street, which is subject to the application, and it shows the vacant ground floor commercial space that's being converted or to be converted. And this is just highlighting the area that is to be converted in this slide. The zoning of the properties, the zoning of the property is mostly zoned downtown core. It's also in the downtown core policy area. There is a little bit of floodplain at the back of the property closest to Bayview, but that's not impacted by this application. The proposed development will involve the conversion of the vacant ground floor commercial space in the existing mixed-use building into 2 dwelling units. The new units will consist of one 1,500 square foot or 441 square meter 2-bedroom unit and one 82.7 square meter, 890 square foot 2-bedroom unit. The number of units in the existing structure at 219 Queen Street will increase from 28 to 30 units, and the number of units in the overall development will go from 68 to 70 units. That's just a floor plan showing the layout of the 2 proposed units. Queen Street would be along the bottom of the screen. This is some architectural elevations of the proposed structure showing the space that's being converted on the ground floor. Proposed residential conversion of the vacant commercial space will involve replacing some of the existing glass with spandrel glass, which is just basically glass you can't see through. And this will maintain the commercial appearance of the structure, so it's not going to have any impact on the external appearance of the structure. It's going to maintain that commercial feel, but it will allow for privacy for the residential units. Just some more elevations. In terms of policy review and analysis, the planning staff have reviewed the proposal based on the applicable policies found in the planning documents. The full details of the review are attached to the staff report as Appendix A. The proposal will see vacant space occupied. It will also see new housing opportunities, and it will increase residential densities in the downtown core, so it's consistent with a lot of the town's development policies. Proposed residential conversion will result in a less intensive use of the approved commercial use, and the conversion does not involve any expansion or structural alteration of the exterior of the existing structure. And while the loss of street-level commercial space in downtown is regrettable, it's understandable given the current challenging retail market. And it's also noted that this is not necessarily a reversible change, and it's just providing an option to the developer should they wish to make the conversion. So at this time, it's just introducing the ability to do the change, not necessarily a change. Public participation, we did the sign, was posted on the property in early April. We have posted the information on the town's website, and we also did a mail out to 56 property owners within 150 meters on March 24th. There were no responses to the survey. And, sorry. And just in terms of recommendation, the recommendation is that the town approve an amendment to its, pardon me. The recommendation is that the town amend its March 2016 development agreement with Arkham Developments Limited as amended in May 2022 to permit the conversion of vacant ground floor commercial space in an existing mixed-use building at 219 Queen Street into 2 residential dwelling units. And that concludes my report, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Mr. Fox? Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just that the point on that this is not an irreversible change, that this could be flipped back to commercial, and that the current development agreement is flexible in that way. And so if and when they want to switch it back to commercial, if it does get developed as residential, there's not another amendment to the agreement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Great, thank you.
Any further questions from council? Okay. All right, I see no further questions, and I don't think there's anyone in the gallery that's going to be asking any. All right, so seeing no further questions, I'm going to ask 3 times. Are there any further questions? My second ask, are there any further questions? My third and final ask, are there any further questions? Seeing none, I declare the hearing for 219 Queen Street closed. Thank you very much. No questions for you, Mr. Sala. Yeah, got off easy today. We're now going to proceed to our public agenda for today. This is a public council meeting for the town of Truro for Monday, May the 4th, 2026. Mr. Dolter, are there any changes, admissions, deletions to the agenda?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Seeing no changes to the agenda for May 4th, 2026 is approved. Item 2A on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the public council meeting on April 13th, 2026. The minutes were circulated. Are there any changes identified, council? Seeing none, the minutes for April 13th, 2026 are approved. We're moving on to item 3, petitions, delegations, and correspondence. Item 3A is a letter from MLA Ritzy, re-provincial funding for the Colchester East Hants Public Library. Mr. Dolter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, this was received by Minister Ritzy. The council had directed a letter go to the minister requesting consideration review on the funding formulas for the libraries. In his letter back to us, he let us know that he appreciated our letter. He did go on further, and I'll read that, Madam Mayor. Regarding funding for the Truro Public Library, I can confirm that Colchester East Hants Public Library was funded by the province in accordance with the established formula. However, the allocation of those funds is determined by the regional library leadership and board. Funding for the regional libraries in most recent budgets remains status quo, and there has been no reduction of the Colchester East Hants Public Library's allocation. Bridge funding has been provided previously, is not part of the base budget and has only been provided on a one-time funding. Did go further to say departmental staff continue to monitor the library's operation and decisions being undertaken by library boards based on existing budgets. Library's requests, concerns have been received and will be considered within this context. And that, again, he thanked us for our commitment to the libraries, and signed by Honourable Dave Ritzy, Minister of Communities, Culture, Tourism and Heritage.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions about that? Councillor Talbot.
I don't have a question, but this did come up at NSFM last week, and the responsible minister said that there is a recognition that libraries are underfunded, and they are undertaking a study to, see what can be done to increase that. Nothing concrete, but the fact is they recognize it and they are looking at it.
Thank you for sharing that, Counselor. Counselor Graham?
Again, not necessarily a question, rather a comment. While funding has not decreased to the libraries, technically it kind of has, in that the funding formula and the funding amount has not increased, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, in more than 5 years. And that does not keep up with inflation and the cost of the rising costs of books, heat, electricity, everything else. So in fact, no increase really does mean a decrease.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Item 3B is the letter from the Rotary Club of Truro. Mr. Dolter?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this came in to the mayor, and I will just make council aware. I think council is aware I am a member of Rotary. So again, I will reading this just as an info to council. So 2026 marks the 100th anniversary for the Rotary Club of Truro. Over that time, the club has primarily assisted the citizens of the town of Truro, municipality of County of Colchester. As members of a global community, the club has also been involved in projects in district, country, and the world. Our members proudly stand with 1.2 million Rotarians worldwide and provide services to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, peace through our fellowship of business professionals and communities. The club then outlines the other things that they've involved within the community, and for the community's benefit, they support Rotary Youth Leadership Development events, Adventures in Citizenship, and Strive, which is a program to get challenge youth to look at secondary education or post-secondary education, and with post-secondary bursaries as well. Rotary continues to be avid supporters of Steps on Arthur. They've supported the Victoria Park Pool, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, the hospital, and the library as well, and as well as Canadian Mental Health Association, just to name a few of what they've done. Christmas Index last year as well. It was really important for families during the holiday season. They assisted over 801 children with the program last year. And Rotarians, they say, are people of action who help the town, communities, and world be safer, welcoming, and vibrant locations. So the final part is to ask the town that they would consider supporting the centennial celebration with a gift or grant of $5,000. Now, this letter does say for the event was going to take place April 24th, but it has been delayed until the fall. So, Madam Mayor, again, this is to make council aware of the request, and we will, if council would like to consider it, we can bring that forward to council in a future public council meeting to be considered.
So, Council, do you want to consider this request to be brought forward? Council, yes.
If you
yes.
need one.
Okay, Councillor Fleming is prepared to make a motion that
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
support this request to come forward. I'm going to need a seconder. Seconder to Deputy Mayor. A discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, Council. Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dolter. And just a reminder, we have a flag raising for Rotary at 12 o'clock on Monday outside by our flagpole, outside at 695 Prince Street. We're moving on. Item 4 under old business is item 4A, request for decision for 219 Queen Street. Mr. Dolter, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So again, this refers back to what we've just reviewed under the public hearing. So an application by Arkham Developments Limited to amend an existing development agreement to include an option to convert vacant ground floor commercial space in an existing mixed-use building at 219 Queen Street into 2 residential units. This request was reviewed by the town's Planning Advisory Committee at their January and March 2026 meetings. TPAC recommended council enter into an amending agreement with the applicant. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is be it resolved that council amend its March 2016 development agreement with Arkham Developments Limited as amended in May 2022 to include an option to convert vacant ground floor commercial space into existing an existing mixed-use building at 219 Queen Street into 2 residential units.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking for a mover. Councillor McGrath, a seconder. Councillor Fleming. Discussion, Council. Councillor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I guess the question's for Jason. Sorry, I didn't see you're on your phone. We have site plan approvals for 50 units in one location in town. I'm wondering why something like this, converting two small commercial places to apartment units has to go through all this process. Is there a way we can speed it up? Or I know it's onerous on the owners that have to come to these meetings and stuff, or in my opinion, is something that's small and shouldn't even be brought to us.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of a holdover from when this was originally done by development agreement, and the original proposal has an agreement in place, so in order to do any changes to it required an amendment to that agreement, and removing the commercial space was a pretty substantial change in the overall proposal, so that's why it had to go back through the process. It is regrettable, but it's just the fact that there is an agreement in place.
Okay. So moving forward, will we still have these types of things coming before us, or?
If someone has a development agreement in place and needs to amend it to make changes to the agreement, especially to a particular facet or element of the agreement that was important. In this case, the mixed-use component was originally thought to be pretty important, so therefore it required council's approval.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Council, motion's been made by Councillor Fleming. It's been seconded by Councillor McGrath. We've had our discussion. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, it has been moved unanimously. This is a good news day for you, Mr. Sala. It's all good. Thank you. Motion is carried. There will be a 14-day appeal period when it appears in the paper and on the social media platform, and when that is set in motion, the 14-day appeal period begins. If no appeals is approved, we're good to go. Thank you. Item 4B is a request for decision, appointment of members of the Heritage Advisory Committee. Mr. Dolter, if you would.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the Heritage Advisory Committee requires volunteer citizen members to be appointed to represent the town of Truro. The positions were advertised and applications were reviewed as per policy. It was recommended that Patrick Mitchell and Allison DeBrato be appointed to the Heritage Advisory Committee. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is be resolved that council approve the appointment of Patrick Mitchell and Allison DeBrato as citizen representatives on the Heritage Advisory Committee.
Thank you. I'm looking for a motion. Councillor McGrath, seconder. Councillor Talbot, any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of the motion to appoint Patrick Mitchell and Allison DeGrotto as citizen reps to the Heritage Committee, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Item 4C, a request for decision. Rock the Hub, noise bylaw exemption request. Mr. Dolter, if you please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So Rock the Hub will be taking place at Civic Square and utilizing a portion of Prince Street between Yonge and Forester Streets in the evenings of July 24th, 25th, and 26th. This event was previously hosted in the same location in 2017, 18, 19, and 2022. The event includes 3 nights of concerts, on-site food vendors, a licensed area operating as a 19 and over event, and other celebrations. Concerts start at 6 p.m. each evening. In previous years, council has granted a noise bylaw exemption until 12 a.m. In order to accommodate the event in 2026, the producer is requesting an exemption to the noise control bylaw as allowed under Section 8 of the Truro Noise Control Bylaw to allow the event to run until 12:30 a.m. on July 24th, 25th, and 26th. The producer has assured that the intent of the concert is to be finalized at 12 a.m. However, additional half hour allows bands to play an encore, which is standard. As such, for 2026, he would like to extend the noise bylaw exemption until 12:30 a.m. to accommodate potential encore performances. but the main show would end at 12 a.m. Very few complaints were received regarding previous events. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion be resolved that council approves the extension as outlined in Section 8 of the Noise Control Bylaw and allows the event Rock the Hub to run until 12:30 a.m. on July's 24th, 25th, and 26th, 2026.
Thank you. I'm looking for a mover. Councillor McGrath, seconder, Councillor Pryor. Discussion, Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to highlight that I think that this is really positive for the town to see this event coming back. I hear a lot about people wanting more events like this, and I've talked a lot about events that are, geared more toward the younger folks, and I think this fits that bill quite nicely, and I'm happy to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor, and I agree. I think it's fantastic this is coming back. Councillor Graham?
I too support the motion, but I was just wondering if you could, Mr. Dalter, talk to us a little bit about the relationship with the library and how this will affect them. Who's responsible for cleanup on that front yard? How will it affect patrons? I expect there'll be some level of damage on the grounds, but
Yeah.
maybe you could expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so the cleanup itself is a responsibility of the promoter, and we do provide, upon request, we do provide garbage cans, but the promoter is responsible for the cleanup and making sure that the grounds are in basically the condition that they found them in, other than obviously some worn grass, which they can't control. Even to the point that if there are requirement for additional police officers, they are paid for by the promoter, and it's not a cost to the town. Typically, they do full coordination with the library on hours and how things will operate, as well as setting up their barricading to allow access into the library up to so prior to the music starting or while it's started. And again, it's up to the library at the end of the day if they decided to adjust their hours. But they have coexisted over previous events, and I don't think there's been minimal disruption. And the producer does understand that that coexistence is very important to the town, and I'm sure we'll make sure that's emphasized to them again. But again, we haven't had an issue in previous years.
No, and I didn't expect there would be. I just thought we should have
Yeah.
a little bit of clarification on that relationship.
Yeah, and as far as the grounds go itself, there will be some wear and tear. Again, it depends on the weather conditions leading up to the event. If it's, as long as the conditions are fairly dry, the lawn should hold up fairly well. And again, we'll deal with the, some reconditioning. If there's any significant damage to the grounds, we will be talking to the producer as well, because again, if there's any deliberate damage, again, we'll have to discuss that with them on how that gets dealt with.
Is there a cost to the producer to use that space?
The space is provided. We don't charge for the use of this space. We do give access to it because of the benefit it does give to the town. There are some charges for the provision of some of the services, and I don't know if we do have a direct cost on the cans. Ms. Sims, I think we just provide those free of charge.
We provide them a free charge, but there is a special event fee that they cover that kind of covers all of our
Yeah,
costs.
so there is a general fee that is charged. Yeah, that I did have to check on that because that's a detail I don't always know. But yeah, we typically do just to cover off some of the costs of, dropping the cans off and doing some of that. There is a fee for the use of the area.
Thank you.
And if this is approved by council today, it'll be well advertised about the noise exemption extension, correct?
Yes, yeah, we'll give notice to everybody, and again, for those in the area, particularly the apartments that are in the area, if people have just recently moved in, that could come as a surprise, so we'll make sure it's well advertised.
Great, thank you. Councillor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I agree with you and the other councilors. This is a great benefit for our community. I thought it was in 2027. I guess I must be missing something. And I haven't seen any advertising for it or anything, so I'm wondering how they're going to pull it off in 2 months.
They've already started promoting. Tickets are on sale.
Okay.
So yeah, it has been.
I haven't seen the lineup or.
Yeah, it's all on social media. So you.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you you should be able to get that. So yeah, they've got, they've got a lineup of pretty strong acts, and obviously the promoter, he talked to us prior to Christmas, so and I think there was some assumption that he would be successful in moving it forward. So it is well underway, and tickets are on sale now.
Okay, thank you. My recollection was at our first meeting when you brought it up, it was going to be 2027, wasn't going to be this year, but I was obviously mistaken.
Yeah, I know. In fact, we may have said that. I think he originally talked about 27, but then he seized an opportunity and felt he could pull it off in 26.
Oh, that's
and,
great. Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Excellent. Counselor Talbot?
Yes, excuse me, like the other councils, I'm prepared to support this, but I do want to put out a bit of a caution. The noise bylaw is in place for a reason, so it's 12 o'clock, now it's 12:30. I wouldn't be interested in that creeping to 1 and then 1:30, so, if we get another request, I think we have to take a look at that pretty strongly.
Yeah, and Madam Mayor, if I could, I think we've had fairly good success with this producer. We're familiar with them, and if we felt there was any chance of it creeping past there, I think he's probably being prudent in the fact that he says, yes, the show shuts down, he gives time for encores, and then there's no risk of going over.
Well, everybody loves a good encore, but by 30 minutes, you should be able to get 2 in there, so I think it's positive, so it's good. I don't see any further questions, so we're going to take the vote. All in favor of this motion for a noise extension I was going to say encore, I'm excited myself. Noise extension till 12:30 p.m., please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Item 4D, a request for decision for 60 Gulf Street Development Agreement of a timing extension. Mr. Dolter.
So thank you, Madam Mayor. So at the May 5th, 2025 meeting, Truro Town Council agreed to enter into a development agreement with Walton Residential Communities Limited to permit a 5-story multi-unit residential building containing up to 59 dwelling units on lands at 60 Gulf Street, and that's PID 204528992. Subject to stormwater management plan and landscaping plan being submitted. It is staff's understanding the developer is in negotiations to purchase a portion of an adjacent parcel, which is expected to facilitate construction of the site. The owner's representative, Tier 2 Properties, has requested a 6-month extension to Part 6, subsection 6.1, time extensions of the draft agreement, which would give the property owner until November 5th, 2026 to finish the property sale and sign the draft agreement. The agreement would then be registered to 60 Gulf Street as it currently exists, plus the additional strip of land. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is be resolved the council grant a 6-month extension to the timing provision noted in Part 6.1 of the draft development agreement between the town and Walton Residential Communities.
Looking for a mover. Deputy Mayor, seconder. Councillor Pryor. Discussion on this? Any discussion? Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, mine has to do with the parcel that's being purchased, I see is very small, and for the purpose of developing the property as a storage site while building. I'd just like to know what the plan is after that, because it has been purchased and will be a part of that property. Is the plan to put more parking, surface parking in on that piece of property? Is it to, after construction and the project is completed, is it the plan to make that landscaped? And, what's the plan for that? I'd be interested in that, and I would seek that would be, I'd like to see it landscaped and put into the agreement.
Mr. Dave Wallace is here with us. Hello, good afternoon. If you just want to hit your button and speak loudly. If you want to address that question by our Deputy Mayor, that would be appreciated. It is. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Change of plans. We're not buying the strip of land now.
Okay.
I'm here asking for an extension anyway because I think the deadline is tomorrow to sign the DA.
Okay.
As we stand, what was approved in the existing development agreement will be built.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So no changes as far as the amount of land that it's sitting on?
Yeah.
Correct.
We thought
Okay.
that we'd be able to acquire the additional lands for more surface parking and landscaping, a mix, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other further questions? I don't see any. Okay, thank you, Mr. Wallace. Okay. Now I'm going to call for a motion. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Contrary minded? Motion is passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 5 on the agenda is the in-camera summary reports. Mr. Dolter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So council met on April 16th in camera to discuss two issues of a legal nature. I requested council stay after for an in-camera session where there is one item on the agenda.
Thank you very much. We're now going to move forward with our committee reports. After each report, council will have the opportunity to ask questions, and then I'll call for a motion at the end of all reports. Our first report is from our CAO, Mr. Dolter.
So thank you, Madam Mayor. So the first item under the economic prosperity pillar is the investment attraction meeting that we had with TC PEP on April 20th, 2026. As council is aware, the TC PEP provides economic development services to the town, county, Stewiacke, and Millbrook First Nation. Staff met with the CEO and regional manager for the Northern Connector program to discuss their renewed focus on investment attraction for the town. Their plan is to focus on areas where they see gaps in the town's business landscape and attract investment to fill those gaps. They feel there are some untapped opportunities for the town, particularly in the retail sector, as the town continues to grow. Staff will continue to work with the partnership in these and other areas. As far as leadership and governance, under transparency, trust and transparency, just an update from my perspective on Rec Board and the NSPE. Work continues with the board and the interim general manager on addressing some of the final issues with the Rec and NSPE site. Rec staff have also concluded removal of the final assets from the site, and in fact that was ongoing last week. The Rec continues to work on its budget, with the final version coming to council once it has been approved by the board. For the town and the county, the capital plan will be a major issue moving forward. So we have a contractor. We hope to have a contractor in place to complete a thorough assessment of the facility in conjunction with the Rec staff. This information will be used in combination with what we already know to establish priorities and funding requirements. So, Madam Mayor, subsequent to me writing that report, again, I was away last week, the Rec Board has had an opportunity to meet and met on Monday, and they have recommended that East Point Engineering for the engineering review of the facility. Overall, there were 8 responses to the request for proposal, and East Point was the one selected by those that reviewed, and that was the Director of Public Works for Town and County, and the town's facility manager were on the committee. We did hope to have the operation manager from the Rec also review. However, he declined to be part of the review of the candidates. So again, the recommendation is for East Point to carry on the review, and if there's no objection to that, that will be moving forward in the next little while once the county council has had a chance to have knowledge of that recommendation. The next is our meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs, which occurred on April 15th, 2026. Mayor and Council had the opportunity to meet with the Minister of Municipal Affairs and some of his department's senior officials. During the meeting, we discussed municipal taxation, financial condition indicators, changes to municipal infrastructure programs, amalgamation expropriation authority, and summary offense tickets. After the meeting, I had the opportunity to reach out to some of my town colleagues to determine if their communities shared some of our concerns with respect to the current property tax methodology. and how it favors counties over the towns to provide regional services. I've not heard back from everybody, but I did hear back from quite a few who shared our concerns. And I know the minister at the time said that they had not heard that concern before, but again, it is shared by some of the other towns, and I assume the minister will hear it, the same message, when they actually have an opportunity to talk to those towns. So we'll follow up the issue we have with some of the FCIs as well, and as we continue to improve our overall financial position. So again, I think, from a council perspective, I think it was a good meeting. Certainly some really good discussion took place. From a sustainable environment adaptation resilience perspective, I attended a webinar entitled "Opportunity provide input on Canada's Federal Sustainability Strategy." This took place on April 23rd. The Clean Foundation organized a session to provide Nova Scotia municipalities an opportunity for input and consultation of the Federal Sustainable Development Strategy. The strategy, also called the FSDS, is Canada's legislated whole of government plan for environmental, social, and economic sustainability. Every 3 years, it outlines federal goals, targets, and actions for sustainable development. The draft 26 to 29 FSDS was developed by Sustainable Development Office at Environment and Climate Change Canada in collaboration with 59 federal departments and agencies. The draft is organized in 3 major sections that represent the interconnected social, economic, and environmental pillars of sustainable development: building an inclusive and resilient society, driving sustainable growth, and protecting our environment and well-being. The sessions provide an opportunity for municipal partners and community stakeholders to learn about the strategy and contribute feedback. Participant input will be used to help ensure the final FSDS reflects the priorities and realities of communities across Nova Scotia, including advancing resilient communities, a cleaner environment, a healthier environment. There was a lot of discussion around capability, funding, and establishing priorities. I think one of the key speakers there was the sustainability coordinator for the town of Bridgewater. I think he has provided them a great deal of written input, which was very valuable. Again, one of the things I think whenever dealing with the federal government is they have a hard time relating to the capacity at the local level to do some of the things that they're putting forward. And that was expressed very well by the participants on the realities of some of the situations that we deal with as municipalities, and particularly in Atlantic Canada, as obviously as a federal government department. A lot of what they're doing is focused on bigger cities who have a much larger capacity than smaller communities do. So again, that was expressed as well. Under community wellness, involved in connected communities, finalization of the TAC Grounds revitalization donor wall. The town is extremely grateful to everyone who chose to donate to the TAC Grounds revitalization project. Through the hard work of Brian Wood and Stu Rath, we received over $3 million in community donations and sponsorship. A donor wall is being erected on site, or has been erected now as of now. Again, that's what happens when you're gone for a week. A donor wall has been erected on site to recognize the generosity of the donors. Sponsorship signage is also being placed on the No. 2 Construction Battalion site and the Argus Drive ball field, and that'll be completed in the coming weeks. The date of the official opening will be announced once we are able to finalize the required site preparations. So again, that's all positive, and we hope to have a large event. We're hoping to have it in advance of the start of the track and field season, but we're running up on that very quick. I think the first event, Ms. Sims, is 15th of
May 13th.
May 13th is the first big track. That's the provincials, I believe.
It is the Nova Scotia Sports School Districts event.
Yes.
And the following week would be the regionals event.
Okay, yeah, so again, it's a very active site, so we hope to squeeze the official opening in a time frame either prior to or between the events. So again, that is moving forward. On the strategic initiatives and communications side, under public transportation, the regional transit study was commissioned by both the town and county to assess the feasibility of bringing in a regional public transportation system and looking at community needs, service design options, governance and operating models, and the financial implications, and some of the broader social, economic, environmental benefits. So the final report has been delivered to the town and county as of March 31st. It's currently being reviewed by town and county staff. Once this review is complete, a joint session will be held to deliver the report to the town and county councils. Again, that's something that we think is fairly important. We're going to look at further additional information for council as well too, as we look at the overall impacts of that, so the two councils have the ability to assess what the true feasibility of the project will be. Fleet electrification study, as outlined as a recommended action in the town's community emergency energy and emissions plan. The town is undertaking a fleet electrification study on its light and medium duty fleet to determine feasibility of converting some of the town's municipally owned vehicles from gas powered to electric vehicles. Staff are working with East Point Engineering on phase 2 of the study. At this point, staff have received the draft phasing plan. Staff at East Point will meet on this draft plan in May to gain feedback and finalize requirements on the design to complete the final phase 2 report. So again, department heads are looking at the impact on their vehicles and looking at the feasibility and how the implementation would work, so that again we have a document that is a workable document for moving forward. Recover Initiative, the Truro Farmers Market. Again, council's aware, we're continuing to collaborate with the Recover Initiative through its building transformation program to look at the retrofit of the market hall, which is home of the Truro Farmers Market. So the program will provide the town with a comprehensive assessment of the building and outline potential efficiency upgrades and retrofits to consider. So we had the draft report study was provided in mid-May. The Recover Initiative has reviewed the plan and outlined suggested changes. Our next step will be the updated draft report will be presented to the advisory group in May to work towards a final retrofit study. And again, once that's completed, it will be presented to council for consideration as we move forward. A climate risk and resiliency plan. The town's climate risk and resiliency plans is underway. We're expecting to have the plan delivered in the fall of 26, and that's we're looking at all the potential vulnerabilities as a result of climate change impacts, and again, we're aware of many of these: extreme heat, flooding, wildfires, invasive species, storms, and we'll be developing strategies to mitigate the risk and build resilience. Staff continue to work with the consultant to finalize the public engagement component of the report. At this time, workshop and focus groups have taken place with nearly 30 different groups and organizations in Truro. A community workshop was hosted in March, and a public survey also ran for 2 weeks and received 440 responses. The community wildfire protection plan. Town of Truro is working with Nova Scotia Department of Natural Resources to undertake a community wildfire protection plan. And the purpose of this is to identify wildfire risk within the surrounding areas of the town, specifically potential for wildfire outbreaks in Victoria Park, the watershed, and adjacent undeveloped woods areas. So the town's retained B&T wildfire technologies to assist with the creation of the plan. Public and stakeholder engagement will take place in May and June to help assess community preparedness for wildfires and identify high-risk, vulnerable areas for planning. Under EDIA initiatives, Access Awareness Week, Nova Scotia, Making Room, Conversations on Accessibility is a program that we're highlighting. Staff have developed a session for the public called Making Room Conversations on Accessibility, planned for June 4th, 2026. during Access Awareness Week in Nova Scotia. This session will include a community panel and will create space for people to share their experiences with accessibility and for others to listen and learn. It will include a moderated discussion and Q&A with questions collected in advance and will be live streamed. More details on the event will be released in May. Pride Month in June, Truro Pride Evening of Stories and Reflections. Staff are working with Truro Pride to develop a public session called Truro Pride Evening of Stories and Reflections, and that's planned for June 23rd. This event will recognize 10 years of Truro Pride through an event of storytelling and reflection, including key partners who have helped shape Pride locally. The event will focus on creating a respectful and welcoming space for connection, and more details of that event will be released in May as well. From a communications perspective, Madam Mayor, we've had some communications on the town operating capital budgets, and they were circulated. And we did, one of the, I think, key pieces of that was to highlight the $100 of revenue and how it's broken down so that people can get a good understanding of where the tax dollars go. As well, we're featuring, tied into our strategic plan, we're highlighting Earth Day and the projects around that. These projects support the town's goal to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions, adapt to climate change, and protect our community and infrastructure and natural spaces. So again, all very important things for us moving forward. And again, the list of additional social media posts that we've done during the month, very active time, and we do again list the grant funding that the town has applied for, with two outstanding right now. Again, that is my report. Madam Mayor, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Just with the public transit, is there any idea what month that's going to be presented? We're into May now. And
We hope to sit down with council during the upcoming committee of the whole meeting, and we'll go through the plan at that point.
Okay.
And then we'll have some further discussion and get some potential direction from council from there.
And as you and I know, we have been dealing with 3 encampments in our town. That's very concerning, especially for the owners of the lands, where there's been, could pose some safety hazards and it's been an issue for sure. And I've talked to David Mitchell, the mayor in Bridgewater, and I've invited him to come to Truro to meet with council just to discuss some issues that he's dealt with in his town recently, and he is more than happy to do that. He's been a great resource to me. So I just wanted to mention that by not mentioning it, it looks like we're not doing what we can do, and I've had great support from the Truro Police, and we are doing the best we can to try to get these situations under control. We are not exempt from other towns that are also dealing with encampments, as you know, Mr. Dolter.
Yeah. The encampment in question, I just got back from, only became aware of the degree of the condition of that area. So again, I'll be talking to staff this week to decide on a strategy on what we're going to do with it.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to councilors. Councilor Graham, you're up first.
I was just wondering about the contractor who's doing the assessment of the facility at the rec. Whose responsibility is it to pay that bill?
The overall capital requirements of the facility within the operating agreement fall to the town and county. So the engineering assessment is to provide us assistance, but again, so likely we will be paying the cost of the overall assessment. Again, that will be shared 50-50 with town and county. There's no doubt there will be some work that comes out of this, or some of the priorities will be costs that likely will be the responsibility of the rec because of their overall cost, because again, this is to provide an overall review, inventory of the assets that are there, condition review, again, so it's all things from an asset management perspective that is value to us because, and I say us, the town and county, because those assets are on our books, all those major assets. Again, it's our responsibility to maintain them. So again, it's, as of right now, it'll be shared between the two owners of the building who are responsible for that.
And have we budgeted for that? I don't recall that we
Yeah,
had a line.
Yeah, the overall cost, there was some money budgeted for the overall, the wreck itself, and that'll be taken out of that budget line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Dolter, you mentioned we're still waiting on the rec budget. Do we have a deadline for when that's to be presented?
Well, not
provide.
theoretically, in writing, it should have been March, but given some of the ongoing issues there, again, and the board is looking at a couple things going on. Obviously, they're with the cancellation of the stampede and some of the other changes that have occurred, it's had some impact on the budget and revenue lines. So again, that's something they're dealing with right now. So it hasn't impacted them. Both town and county have budgeted based on and have allocated the first quarter grant allocation. So again, they can conduct, and again, we're giving, we're giving them time in order to come up with a budget that's workable for all parties involved.
Okay, and then you mentioned that the tenders for the facility review, that the operations manager declined to participate. Did they give any reason why? Because that's
He just said he didn't feel comfortable going through. So again, we wanted third eyes on that, and so our facilities manager, who's got obviously a good knowledge of the buildings and requirements, we felt he was a good third choice, so that's why we used him. So again, we can't. He just declined. We did want him involved, but again, I can't speak to his reasons for declining.
okay. And then finally, when we were talking about the accessibility initiatives and Accessibility Week coming up, are we going to do any accessibility reviews of town facilities? I know this is something that had been discussed prior with the Regional Accessibility Committee. Do we have any plans for that?
Yeah, in fact, we are doing part of the facilities review that we are planning. We're going to look at most of our individual buildings, and that will be part of the overall assessment on what changes need to be made. We are aware of a few already from the preliminary accessibility plan. So yeah, that will be part of the things we look at when we do our facilities reviews, not just current assets, but also other changes that we may need to make.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. My question is regard to the 2nd Battalion athletic field, and it's great we're hosting these provincial events, but I know as a member of the Truro Golf Course, that place is packed already with parking. So I wonder if there's any kind of, maybe it's through to Ashley, but if there's any coordination between the golf course and the 2nd Battalion as to parking, or is there spots outside of the area where people can park? Because I'm sure it's going to be an issue.
We've had some correspondence with the golf course already to let them know these events are taking place. We also will be asking buses to drop students off, and then they'll go park at the new Argus Drive baseball field. So that's where the buses will go. And I know some of the organizers are contacting some local businesses to see if people can park there as well too.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We're going to move on now. I see that our Director, Tara Russell, is not with us today, and we're very pleased to be joined with the lovely Andrea Curry, who is going to present the financial report. So, Andrea, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. This is the Corporate Services Report for April 2026. The attached financial statement provides an overview of the financial position of the town of Truro's operations up until the end of March 2026. March 31st, 2026 is the town's year end. However, these financials are draft only. There are entries for both revenue and expense that still need to be done and may change both numbers materially. These entries are not done to date because we are still waiting on information from various partners in order to calculate what they need to be. From the revenue side, as of the end of March, total draft revenue is 41.6 million, which is 1.7 million over budget. Deed transfer tax represents 889,000 of this overage, while interest income is also over budget by 386,000. We also saw increased revenue at the stadium due to longer ice season and at Victoria Park due to a hot summer that we had last year. The total of these two items is 94,000 above budget expectations. For the expenses, at the end of March, the total draft expenses amount to 38.6 million, representing 96.8% of the budget. All departments manage their budgets at or below their budget amounts. The exception, is at the Rath Eastland Community Centre, where there was a significant overage due to a legal matter that was recently resolved, requiring an unbudgeted payment. This is primarily funded through the transfer from current operational reserves. With regards to the surplus, the attached report, the draft surplus is approximately $3 million. However, as previously stated, there are several entries still to be done that may materially change the numbers you see in this report. As always, the attached financial report contains comments for both revenue and expense to help explain the variances to budget. With regards to capital updates, the capital budget report is also attached. Values in this report are shown at total cost. However, some of these purchases will be partially funded by grants. 6.9 million, or 73% of the 13 million adjusted budget, has been spent as of March 31st, 2026. These numbers are draft, and some remaining entries may change the numbers reported here materially. With regards to our Enterprise Resource Planning Replacement System, which is the ERP system, in April, a project charter outlining the scope of the initial phases of this project were circulated to the internal stakeholders in April for review, feedback, and alignment. With regards to records management and document management, earlier this year, we started the town-wide initiative for records management. This project scope includes training key staff members in the Association of Municipal Administrators of Nova Scotia, the AMANS, records management structure. This was completed in February. This internal team then works with their departments to get past and future records into the structure. In April, we revised the project charter to include moving our existing document management system to the cloud and to provide training to staff. This software has the AMAN structure within it, but not everyone currently uses it. The move to the cloud will enhance the user experience, and the training will ensure everyone has the understanding to use the tool effectively. This charter was circulated to the internal team for review, feedback, and alignment. Once done, this will be shared back with senior staff, and the project will move forward. With regards to our procurement policy update, the town has engaged a third party to update our procurement policy and procedures. This process begins in May with interviews of various stakeholders involved in procurement to ensure the updated policy is a balance between business needs and public procurement requirements. For the budget of 26-27, in April, we finalized the 26-27 budgets with council approval given on April the 13th. Website materials have been updated and municipal grant applicants have been notified. We are receiving many messages of gratitude to pass along to council from successful applicants. For the 26-27 capital budget procurement planning, in late April, senior staff met with the procurement officer to go through the capital plan and communicate timelines for tendering so we could work collaboratively and effectively on this year's capital plan to get projects completed on time and on budget. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Ms. Curry and the report today? Councillor Fleming?
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I'm just doing a little bit of calculations here. It's in regards to the rec and it being over in regards to a legal matter. I don't know if you can comment on what the legal matter is, or...
Well, it's a CRA payment.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was the CRA.
Okay, because I just did some quick calculations here. Maybe you can help me with it, Mr. Dolter, but our annual commitment is $750,000. And once I subtract what we paid, $3,456,000, that leaves us with $2,706,138. So if we pay half of it and the county pays half of it, I'm coming up with $5,412,000.
Okay. You want to take that?
Okay, so I'm commenting on that. So there's the CRA issue as well as another legal issue that we've accrued the expenses for. We haven't had to pay out yet, but we did put the accrual in place. And on the opposite side of that, the revenue line is under our transfers to reserve because we agreed to transfer $2 million from operating to cover those costs.
Okay, so what's the other one? I
So
guess?
well, you're aware of the other one. It's
Oh, I am?
it's been an in-camera issue. It's
Okay.
It's just, well, it's out in the public. So there is there was a payment made as a result of the PCL decision.
Oh, right on.
So
Okay,
again,
yeah.
so that
My
that
apologies.
that was made, and yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Just a little clarification, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mrs. Curry, for your report. Just a question on the draft numbers that we have. You said there's still a few entries to be made. Do we have an expectation of when those entries will be completed and put before the audit committee?
So the year-end the auditors will be in at the end of June to perform the audit process. So all entries should be made be by mid-June, early June for that process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Thomas?
Yeah, it just has to do with, I was a little surprised that we budgeted 13 million for capital expenditures. I think we spent 6.9 or something like that. But so I poured through it, and there's a couple, but just one really stands out to me is the sidewalk on Willow Street. That was $809,000. But is that complete at 425? So 53% of what was budgeted for it. Is that project now complete?
From a numbers perspective, we do have a few extra invoices that are still coming in with regards to
see.
the holdback for that project. But as far as the project completion, I'll allow the Public Works engineer to speak
Okay.
to that.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. And the other question has to do with operational budget. When you complete this year's, well, last year's now, financial report, do you look at each section and then see how this year's budget can be refined somewhat, or is it that's done earlier in the process? Do you follow what I'm asking? Like, I mean, you can glean information out of this, especially in the operational, how money is spent and how much revenue you can expect. Is that put into this year's budget, 26, 27?
When we're planning the 26-27 budget each year, we do certainly look for trends with regards to what the revenue would look like, if that's what you're referring to.
That's what
from
I'm
a
referring
budgeting
to.
perspective,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but just trends, you don't look at actual amounts, et cetera, and trade it off.
We-
I think there's a lot of interesting information in here, that's all.
Yeah, no, we definitely do look at actuals, we look at trends, and some things are unpredictable, unfortunately.
Right.
One of those lines being detransfer tax. I know we've spoken about that at budget time, for example. It's hard to determine what that number may be,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
try to budget.
Some of them are very
conservatively.
variable, there's no
Yeah.
doubt, yeah. Okay, well, thank
Yeah,
you.
and Madam Mayor, one of the things we indicated in the fall, we're looking at doing a full review with council on longer-term planning, particularly in the capital areas and that, but we're also looking at future revenues. So once we have a set of audited statements that we can, that we have the review, that'll form the part of sitting down with council and going through some of these expenditures, looking at trends, looking at where we're going in the future, and certainly from a departmental perspective, we do want to make sure that we've got the right amount of money in each department, and that we fully understand what we're delivering based on that money.
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Curry, for the report. We're moving on to Fire Services, and Chief Blois Curry, if you would.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Council, last month we received 64 calls. There was 4 structure fires, 3 grass and brush fires, 3 motor vehicle collisions, 33 medical calls, 16 alarms, 4 burning complaints, and 1 mutual aid. The fire inspector's report, he did 6 fire inspections, 5 follow-up inspections, 1 fire investigation, 2 vendor permit approvals, and 3 alcohol and gaming approvals. Training for last month was on basic firefighting skills and wildland firefighting. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you. I just want to say that for 39 years, Kevin Boyce was a very respected member of the Truro Fire Service, and I'm very confident in speaking on behalf of council that we are sending him our very best wishes as he is in a very serious health struggle right now. He's got a lot of support in the community. So we are thinking about him, his wife Debbie, and his family as he moves through this struggle, and there's a lot of support behind him. And I hope he can feel the love, because there's a lot of it in the community.
I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
Yeah, Chief, I don't know, you want to highlight the retirement you had as well with Albert's department?
Oh, yes, I apologize for that. But yes, we had one of our other members retire. Did his last shift after 36 years, I believe, with the town of Truro as a
I have a note ready to go to him.
Albert
Yes.
Gamlin is his name, and we give him a good send-off there. The CAO was there, and myself and some family members, and it was a really good send-off for him.
And he also did 10 years with Hilton, I think, as well,
Yes,
too.
yeah,
So he
the
47 years in the fire service, so,
Yeah,
yeah. Or well-earned retirement.
Yeah, we wish him the very best. Hopefully he enjoys
Absolutely.
his retirement.
yes, yeah. All right, great, thank you. Okay, so that's good. Councillor Graham?
My question is with regard to the Community Wildlife Protection Plan. Is your department participating in the development of that plan with B&T Wildfire Technologies?
Yes, you said wildlife there for a
Oh,
second. I was
Wildfire.
did I?
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant
Yes,
wildfire.
that's it's actually involving quite a few departments within the town and the municipality, and because we're looking at a Fire Smart program to introduce to the public along with this study.
Oh, good.
It's actually going to involve some community members and cleanup and get everybody involved in helping to protect the town and their own homes. So yeah,
Oh,
we're very
great.
involved in that. Looking very forward to moving forward that, and we're even going to involve some parts of the county also. So we're quite excited to see if we can get some community involvement as we move forward with it.
That's great, because when I'm in the community, I often hear, I am often participating in conversations about wildfire and the risks in the park, and people who want to become involved in the protection of wildfires in the park especially. So I too will be looking forward to getting involved and seeing what comes of it.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that too, we're looking to push it around the end of September to our October Fire Prevention Week to get the community out and do some engagement stuff.
Great.
So we're going to try to work that all in at the end of the summer and around September when everybody's back from their vacations too. So
Great.
you can look forward to some advertising on that also.
Good. Thank you.
Chief, I think I made a mistake. I said Kevin Boyce. I know a Kevin Boyce. Kevin Boats. I know Kevin. He used to live across from my cousin. I know Kevin and Debbie. And so I just wanted to clarify that, because my heavens, I would have caught that later if I was watching this back. So yes, to Kevin. And I also have a little note to him to go on my desk. So I've been doing a lot of writing lately, but I just wanted to clarify that for anybody who's watching. I also know his sister Sue Ann very well. So anyway, we are thinking about him, and he had quite a little a gathering the other evening, and there
Friday.
a lot of support for Kevin. A lot of support. Okay, Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chief, for your report. Just a quick one on the 3 grass or brush fires and the 4 burning complaints. I know I've been seeing a lot across the province about, fires that have, we've been having to respond to, that other departments have responded to. And at the NSFM Spring Conference last week, I think it was the Department of Environment talked about, I think it was a total of 70% of the province is considered to be either dry or very dry already, despite all the snow that we had all winter. What are you seeing locally, just on the conditions? Are you seeing that we're at much risk for fires if people are burning, especially on a day like today when the wind is severe? A fire can quickly get out of control if one starts.
Yeah, so far we're fortunate because we've had some rain events. It seems like every weekend we get rain when everybody's off, but for now we're okay. And as long as people remember to check to see if it's okay to burn, and they burn at the appropriate times after 2 or after 8, depending on how dry it is, as long as we run with that, we're quite confident that people can still safely burn. But yes, it is dry already in the woods, but we're fortunate that we're getting this rain that we're having right now.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We're now moving on to Planning and Development, and Director Fox will give his report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the Planning Development Report for April 2026. Planning projects, update of the town subdivision bylaw. This is not changed from last month, but planning staff have completed a draft of an updated subdivision bylaw. This bylaw, which was last updated in 1998, forms part of the town's community plan. Staff are planning on presenting a draft of the new subdivision bylaw to the Planning Advisory Committee later this month. That's at the end of the month. United Way Supportive Housing, town and county planning staff met with representatives of the United Way to discuss opportunities in the region for the United Way to partner on development projects and support the development of affordable housing options, including supportive housing, rent geared to income housing, affordable rentals, and attainable ownership housing. Town planning staff provided the United Way with details on a number of current projects in Truro that are potential partnership opportunities for them. I haven't had a response back at this time from the United Way on those. Development agreement compliance, planning staff along with the town's urban forestry supervisor and operations engineer have created a working group to review development projects that were completed as part of an approved development agreement. This review will check to ensure each development was constructed in accordance with the terms of the relevant development agreement, including details such as stormwater management and landscaping. Any deficiencies will be noted and followed up with enforcement action as required. Planning applications, we have 6 development agreement applications, one at 656 Young, one at 149 Callback, one at 448 Lower Truro Road, Wind Road, Salter Avenue, one at 423 Roby, one at 219 Queen Street, which was the public hearing today, and one at 7 Alice. Site plan approval applications, we have 11 site plan approval applications on the books. Building statistics are noted there. In April 2025, we were at $6,003,056. April 2026, we're at $1,572,688. Bylaw enforcement, we had 41 active files during the month of April, and 12 of those have been resolved, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Fox, for your report. Just on the United Way supportive housing, is this collaboration with United Way part of the affordable housing framework with the housing coordinator that we've been trying to hire as part of those recommendations? Or is this a separate project altogether?
This would be a separate project altogether.
Okay. So do we have an update on the affordable housing framework and the, I believe last time we chatted, we were stalled on the housing coordinator. The county didn't think that we should each fund it, and they were trying to go to the province. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Do we have an update?
Not as of right now, no.
Okay, would this collaboration with United Way help fill that gap for a housing coordinator? Because that's my understanding of looking at sort of, I know what some of the United Way are doing with some of those staff that sounds like a similar job. Would this partnership help fill that gap? Is there potential there or no?
I believe it would certainly fill a gap. I'm not sure what gap you're referring to. Housing coordinator position, if that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
No, it wouldn't fill that gap. It's basically the United Way looking for private sector partners to develop affordable housing units, and they're looking for projects that are currently in the works or shovel ready, and they're able to leverage, I believe it's federal funding to put towards those projects. And so what I did was provide them with a list of projects that we have that are approved developments or developments that are under construction that may be opportunities for them to partner with. But it isn't really a housing coordinator position. It's similar, but there's no one position that we would be working with on this.
Okay, so similar but different. So that begs the question then, where are we at then with that housing coordinator? Have we had additional discussions with the province or with the county about funding that position?
No, we haven't at this point. Again, I'm trying to find the opportunity to make that call and make that connection. Again, the suggestion came from the county to go to the province for funding. Again, we'll make that call. Again, I just haven't had the opportunity to actually follow up on it. Given this initiative and given the recent, as of last week, the province's announcement of the RFP for the old hospital property, which is quite clearly focused on affordable housing units. Again, I think we need to have that discussion in conjunction with what's going on there too. Because I think we'll see where the province stands in moving that forward, as well as looking at overall coordination within the town and county. So again, I do have to do the follow-up, and I just haven't had an opportunity to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, yes, and that was, that announcement finally came last week from the province for housing, and I'd spoke to Minister Ritchie about it a few times. I knew it was coming, and so, you know, we've all been talking about affordable housing, and then, you know, you get calls that people know they don't want affordable housing, so sometimes there's no winning with the public. You just do your best, and I look for the best to come out of that. That land is 100% owned by the province, so we'll see where it takes us, and hoping for positive and good things for everybody, and we'll see where it goes from here. All right, we're going to now move on to our Truro Police Service report. Chief Dave McNeil will be giving us a report. Chief?
Thanks, Mayor Hinton. April's report is as follows. We had 30 motor vehicle collisions. We issued 190 summary offense tickets for violations of the Motor Vehicle Act, conducted 19 check stops. We responded to 11 noise, animal, or bylaw type complaints. There was 3 impaired driving investigations, 95 other summary offense acts such as Trespass Act or Liquor Control Act, 49 mental health well-being calls. There was 10 charges for violating court orders, 11 crimes against a person, 11 assaults, 26 thefts, 16 damage to property disturbance calls, 1 break and enter, 7 fraud investigations, 69 suspicious vehicle or person calls, 24 alarms, and 99 other calls for general assistance. Total of 671 calls, 187 of those resulted in charges. There were 8 parking tickets issued and 66 speeding offenses issued, and the community services officer for CEC, the school resource officer reports attached. And I should mention that Constable Terry Mosier retired on Friday. Terry was 30 years in policing, the last 4 with us in Truro. He was our community officer, so we wish him all the best in his retirement. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, Chief, and I echo that to Terry Mosher, wonderful officer, and I hope he really enjoys his retirement. I don't see any questions for you, Chief, so we're going to move on now to our Public Works report with Director Browning, if you would.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I trust all of you have had the opportunity to read my report in its entirety. At this time, I will provide the monthly highlights for the month of April. Department staff completed detailed design of the town's 2026 street recapitalization road preservation tax funding projects and are currently advertising it to tender. This tender closes May 13th and May 14th. The 13th is asphalt milling, 14th is paving. Construction on Cobequid Drive by Dexter Construction Company Limited recommenced on April 27th and is due to be substantially completed by mid-May. The recapitalization of Argus Drive is planned to be executed this spring once the remaining work associated with the infilling of the existing ponds at the new Argus Drive ball field site is completed. Department staff met with the business manager of the business adjacent to Argus Drive to consult with them about the project and determine how best we can cooperate to minimize disruption as best as possible. Department staff also consulted with the owner of the adjacent property across the street from this business and coordinated the work with any future development plans for that property. This project is currently advertised for tender and closes May 14th. Detailed design is complete for Havelock Street recapitalization. The recapitalization of Havelock Street is planned to be executed this spring and summer. Department staff met with many of the business owners on Havelock Street in April to consult with them about the project and determine how best that we can cooperate to minimize disruption as best as possible. This project is also currently advertised for tender and closes May 20th. The existing traffic and pedestrian signal lights at the intersection of Queen Street and Walker Street, as well as the intersection of Queen Street and Lawrence Street, are still planned to be upgraded. Department staff continue to monitor the progress of the work by the province on the Walker Street Main Street Bridge, as this project will have impacts on the start date of our project. It may be necessary to postpone this project until next spring once the work by the province on the Walker Street Main Street Bridge is completed to avoid the extent of traffic congestion that may be caused. The Town Hall office renovation work by Ridgemark Design and Construction Limited was completed in April and under budget and ahead of schedule. The original date of substantial performance of contract for this work was May 15th, 2026. On Monday, April 20th, It was brought to our attention that sinkholes and related settlement of areas of the street within a section of Burnett Street between Centennial Drive and Adams Street was apparent. The area was reviewed on site by staff that day. A remediation plan was formulated and exploratory and repair work by Webster's Truck and Excavating Limited began on April 27th. It was determined that subgrade soil material immediately underlying the street's asphalt surface was significantly disturbed, likely from the significant water main break that we experienced within the immediate area in mid-December. Department staff discovered a small leak in the existing water main line at the location of the December repair. On April 30th, repaired the leak. The remediation work and the street paving on this section of the street is expected to be completed by early May. I'll point out I neglected to have this included in the council report or whatever under monthly highlights, but I was keeping Councillor McGrath and Councillor Pryor as well as Mayor Hinton abreast of progress and updates or whatever as this work continued. Department staff continue to progress with data acquisition and verification of the overall sanitary sewer and storm sewer systems as part of our asset management planning. Data related to age, material, and size have been compiled in the department's GIS model. Department staff will be completing assessments of condition, probability of failure, and consequence of failure this summer. Staff began executing our asphalt street patching program in April. The program began with repair of utility cuts and will proceed onto arterial streets, collector streets, and then onto local streets. Condition rating assessments and subsequent risk and priority rankings of the town's street network will be updated this summer and fall once the asphalt patching program is complete. This updated information will be used for capital planning for the 26-27 fiscal year. Fortunately to report, the town did not experience any water main breaks or service leaks during the month of April. Department staff did replace one sprinkler service valve on Willow Street this past month. Department staff have replaced 5 sanitary sewer service laterals in the month of April. And finally, our department, together with the Department of Corporate Services, is moving forward with the water rate review study to review our water rates to determine the extent of rate changes necessary. As part of this work, a full property condition assessment will be commissioned for the water treatment plant. The water distribution system has been assessed and evaluated, and this information will be incorporated into the assessment of the extent of changes to the current water rates necessary. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you for your report. Any questions? Councillor Pryor.
Thank you for the quick action on Burnett Street. It was pretty tense there for a bit.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask you if you have any updates on the Cottage Street crossing, because we're getting a lot of inquiries about the material that's there.
This is the rail crossing?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been in touch with CN back and forth to coordinate efforts with that work and just to confirm start date. I guess our role in it will be largely tying back into existing street on either side of their work. At this time, we don't have a firm start date, but once we do or whatever, we'll certainly communicate it to yourself and Councillor McGrath. It does affect your ward, and we'll publish it too.
But that is what it's for, correct? All the materials that are.
Oh yes, oh yes. No, the period. Yeah, no, it's not my stockpile.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Director Browning, both for your report and for keeping Councillor Pryor and I informed around Burnett Street. It's been appreciated.
You're quite welcome.
The Havelock Street timeline, I know I've talked to a lot of the business owners downtown. Some have some concerns. A lot of them are mostly just like, this is great. We can't wait to see it done. Doesn't need to get done, obviously. The timeline, though, we've got like 2 months set aside to do this work. Can you go into a little bit more detail on why it's going to take that long? Like, what is, because normally when paving projects happen, it gets torn up one day, then maybe sits that way for a few weeks until the next contractor comes, they pave, but it's usually done day here, day there. What kind of work are we expecting that we think this will be closed for 2 months?
Well, first of all, the total scope of work of this project is not just repaving the street surface. We're also removing and replacing the existing sidewalk on both sides of the street, and also introducing 2 new catch basins at the intersection of Esplanade and Havelock to improve the drainage issue that we always see at the intersection there. So essentially, it's a full street rebuild. It's not what you see in most of our streets around town where we'll, you know, mill the asphalt off and then repave shortly thereafter. This is a complete rebuild of the street itself. To give you a little bit of, I guess, background as to how this project developed and proceeded, it was our intention around summertime of last year that we looked at each Havelock Street and Argus Drive as being projects that we would do in-house this fiscal year and tackle them basically first thing in the spring. As winter progressed, initially, we basically took Argus Drive off the table because we were seeing we were going to get loaded up with having to deal with potholes and related. As winter continued to rear its ugly head, the work kept piling up ahead of us for spring, so we decided that both projects will be tendered out, contracted out, which is where we're at right now. The timing of proceeding with Havelock Street as well as Argus was dependent on approval of this fiscal year's budget, and so we really couldn't do much until we did get confirmation that this project was indeed going to continue to proceed. And so the timing now, as I said, the tender for Havelock Street specifically closes May the 20th. Our hope is that it'll be a relatively quick mobilization with the contractor that we do secure so that it can get started in early June and hopefully progress relatively quickly. We've communicated through notices to the local businesses in that area that at this time we're expecting construction to run from June through to July. This is certainly an estimate. We won't know for certain until our tenders close. We have it awarded and we have a contractor that we partner with to get this work to be done. That's when we'll have the information as far as timing and duration and be able to share more information with the local businesses then.
Okay, and then obviously, once we start digging into there, we might find some surprises that might alter that schedule.
Sure as heck hope not, but yeah, it's not unlikely, we'll say.
Yeah, and then there has been some talk. I saw one of the business owners was talking about wanting to try to push this out into the fall. Now, my assumption there is that if we push out into the fall and run into weather issues and it doesn't happen this year, then we're just pushing it down the road and we're just again and again just delay.
Absolutely. The fear is if we push it into the back end of construction season, if we experience not so favorable weather, which is very likely during the fall time of year, or we run into anything unknown, unexpected as we start digging, as you mentioned, that we start running out of rope.
Yeah.
And we have a project half completed going through winter, which is not at all desirable. And so the timing of it right now at least gives us some breathing room so that any variables, any unknowns that we have, unfavorable weather, we still have enough room to be able to complete it this season.
Right, and then with the road closure, I assume there'll be no pedestrian access across there as well, because there's a lot of people, business owners, the employees, and even customers would park over on, those lots between Havelock and Outram, continue over toward Inglis and such.
Yeah, and basically to provide a little bit of clarity to that, the parking lots that are going to be closed off are the parking lots that are along the English Street side of Havelock Street. They are still going to be able to be accessed by pedestrian traffic to the businesses from Inglis through the alleyways, but not vehicle traffic. The other parking lots that are on, we'll call them the Outram Street side, are still can still be accessed from Outram themselves, so they can still be used. And anyone using that pedestrian traffic would essentially go down Outram, around Esplanade, and up Inglis, or the other direction to Prince Street.
Okay. With regard to the timing, you said the tender is out, closes May 20th, I believe you said. Something that I know happens in Halifax Regional Municipality, their council will do some pre-approvals of some of the capital projects. And this might be a question more for Mr. Dolter, but is that something that we can entertain to try to get ahead of some of this, so you avoid some of the weather delays and have some projects that are shovel ready for when the budget is actually approved in April?
Yeah, it's certainly an option that council can consider, as long as council's prepared to take somewhat of a risk, because again, we don't know what the final financial situation will be. But in a project like this, it might make sense to be able to get off a little bit more quickly, although you still risk, because you don't know what the spring is going to be like and whether or not you're going to be able to start when you hope. But it's certainly, we can start looking at projects with more of that type of lens if there's a reason to start immediately. We already do something similar with vehicles, particularly because of the long lead time on getting some of the types of vehicles we're looking at. And we get council to allow us to issue tenders prior to knowing what the budget's going to be. So it's something we could look at, and that's something Mr. Browning can bring forward to us and during the budget process. And we can probably look at it sooner, or even prior to going into that if we need that much lead time. The main concern too is we've got to know that we're going to contract the project again, because that will dictate having to have all the design work and everything done beforehand as well too. So again, there's factors involved, but yes, we can do it, I guess, if that's a simple answer.
Yeah, and to add to that as well, as I've mentioned before, our department is working to sort of develop and create a backlog of projects, of capital projects. So we're progressing the design work or whatever for the future, so that we can have more projects shovel ready and ready to roll in future fiscal years. So as that continues to grow and build, the opportunity to be able to go and identify and potentially approve projects for a fiscal year early in themselves presents itself a lot better. So as we get rolling, piling up projects more, the opportunity can get greater and greater.
Okay, appreciate that. 'Cause, we're going to be doing road work every year. We know that. So if we can get a head start on at least some of them, that would be appreciated.
Yep.
A couple more quick questions, hopefully quick questions. Impact to our infrastructure funding from the gas tax cut. The feds recently dropped, I think, 10 cents off the gas tax, in light of the current, price skyrocketing of gasoline. Do we know what impact that's going to have to our infrastructure? Because if that's money that's not being collected by the feds, it's not going to come to us. What does that look like for our future planning?
As far as I know, they've committed to a long-term strategy on what the gas tax funding will be. So again, there's no indication at this point that it's going to vary as a result of that. So, and again, I think the 10-cent drop that's currently being experienced should be fairly short-term. So the money we're being allocated this year, for example, is not being collected this year. It was collected in previous years. So there is potential for it to have future impact, probably not this year, but it's a valid question of whether or not it's going to occur. And a portion of the money that we get as municipalities, we get a portion of what the province receives. So I guess the greater question is how is the province going to treat it? So if the overall allocation from the feds decreases, is the province going to pass that on? Is that going to affect what we're going to be allocated? So I think it is probably a broader question that I'll probably bring back to some of my colleagues and start talking to the province on that to see if we can get some sort of indication if there's any information coming forward from the feds.
Okay, and then a question on damage to equipment. Coming here today, crews are out replacing the light standard at Prince and Walker. Who pays for that? When somebody smashes into our equipment, throws the traffic light off into the Sobeys parking lot there, is that on us? Does that go through does the motorist have to pay that? It goes through their insurance? Like, what's the impact there?
Probably Ms. Curry could speak more intelligently than I can on this, but initially we front it.
Oh, goody.
And whether, I guess Ms. Curry can speak to it more, whether we go after the motorist or whatever to cover the costs is probably depending on circumstance.
If she's prepared to do so, I would welcome the information.
We can go after the person's insurance company, we would need information from police and documentation from the town, and the insurance companies are pretty specific as to what they need. So there is the opportunity to go after the insurance company to cover some of those costs.
Okay, so the opportunity is there, but it's not necessarily something we regularly pursue? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm simply saying it's not necessarily a guarantee that all the funds that we would receive those back from the insurance company.
Similar to sometimes how we put things against a property, for a tax sale or something, there's no guarantee that that money ever comes back sometimes.
Yeah, I think in the past, I think there have been commercial trucks that have taken out light posts and things like that. I think we have gone back after some of the commercial carriers on those. Again, but it's something that I think we need to explore as well too, to make sure we're consistent, because there certainly should be some requirement on behalf of if it's seen to be a driver issue, we should be looking at going back after them, either to the insurance company or holding the driver personally responsible.
Yeah.
I can say, just because that we do have an instance right now where we are trying to recover funds from an insurance company, I'm just simply saying it is quite a process, and it needs to be documented quite well, because you are now sending information off to a third-party insurance company requesting them to pay, and they're not going to do it without proper documentation. So we need to ensure on our end that we have that as well.
Okay, I think going forward, that is certainly something we should be exploring just for protection of our own budget. I don't know what the numbers are, and I'm sure you don't have them in front of you today, but it can't be cheap having the traffic control and all that work being done. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Talbot.
Yes. Oliver, my question is with respect to the ponds at the Argus ball field. You mentioned, but I didn't quite hear what you said. But what I was looking for is a bit of an understanding of what is left to be done and a ballpark date when we would expect completion of that work.
Yep. Speaking to Dexter Construction about that just last week, they expect to remobilize next week, no later than the week after, just basically letting things dry back out on site so they don't make any more of a mess than what is needed. The remaining work to be done is there's still a little bit of grading work on we'll call it the third pond by the parking lot. It still needs to be done, and then everything else be fine graded. There's a rock line ditch that needs to be installed through each of those three ponds to drain them to the stream. And then there'll be hydroseeding of the large size pond to finish it off. Yeah, well, definitely the one that's by the parking lot, because that's the one that still needs to receive some more material. Yeah.
Thank you, Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Graham?
I have 3 questions, but they're quick.
Okay.
Would you like 3 at once, or should I one at a time?
Let's go one at a time.
All right. In our budget, we approved funding to have 5 new crosswalk lights installed throughout the town.
Yep.
Has it been determined where those 5 crosswalk lights will be?
What we were looking at was the crosswalks that we currently have the flagging.
Okay.
Replace the flagging with the pedestrian beacons. I think one of them in particular is the one across Willow Street there at the intersection of Smith Avenue and Willow Street. That one, is one of concern, we'll say.
Yeah.
But basically, the short answer is any of the crosswalks we currently have flagging on is the ones we were eyeing, replacing the flagging with the beacons.
Great.
And then moving the flaggings to new crosswalks of concern.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
The second one, it also has, well, all 3 have, the next 2 have to do with parking.
Okay.
When a new business opens up and they have their own parking lot, whose responsibility is it to monitor that appropriate parking is happening at that new business?
If it's their private parking lot, it's up to them.
It's up to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if an individual had a complaint about the parking situation at a business, there's no point in calling here? No.
No.
Okay. The last one is with regard to parking on Longworth. We had a very successful winter parking rezoning or reconfiguring parking on Longworth, and residents were quite pleased with the success of the no parking on the I never know east and west, but I believe it's the west side of the street
Right.
at the very end, close to Prince. Residents are hopeful that a more permanent solution will come for parking on Longworth, and I was wondering
Yep.
where you're at with that, what your thoughts are.
Essentially, what we've been waiting for is essentially the frost to come out of the ground before we start driving posts, no parking signs.
Great.
So,
So there'll be no parking on the west side of the street at the end of Longworth?
Yeah, essentially reinstating what we did a test trial or whatever with before, yeah.
Oh, great.
That's the plan.
Residents will be pleased.
That's good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I've heard from a lot of people on this issue. It's a small issue in many regards, but when the west end of Duke was repaved late last summer from King to Willow, at the corner of Duke and Willow, there's a storm drain there, and a lot of people can be complaining about how deep it's set within the asphalt. And I was just wondering if you could take a look at that, because a lot of people kind of drive around it rather than over it. And yeah, it's like a little bit of a hazard. The reason I bring it up publicly like this is I've heard from so many people about it. So I just wonder if you could just take a look at that. That would be great.
No, certainly can. We just made note of that, and hopefully all it would need is just essentially a grade ring to bring it up a little bit.
Right. I thank you for that.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you, Deputy. Our final committee report is from Director Ashley Sims. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Seasonal staff returned to work on April 20th, and spring cleanup, routine maintenance, and sport field preparations are now well underway. Many sport fields officially opened for the season at the end of April. Construction of the Jamie Shepherd Memorial Playground is progressing well and is expected to be completed by early June, weather permitting. Ice rentals at the Colchester Legion Stadium are winding down, with reduced operating hours in place to accommodate remaining bookings while staff transition to outdoor sport field and open space maintenance. The ice plant is scheduled to be shut down in mid-May, after which the facility will be prepared for the upcoming lacrosse season. As weather continues to improve, residents are reminded that campsites and bonfires are prohibited in Victoria Park and all other Town of Truro parks and green spaces. Any unauthorized campsites and or fires should be reported to the Parks, Recreation and Culture Department. In the event of an emergency, please call 911. We also have seen an increase in discarded needles in public spaces. If you see needles in town-owned parks and spaces, please report it to the Parks, Recreation and Culture Department. If it is after hours, please report it to Truro Police non-emergency line. The street side hazard tree program is approximately 90% complete, with the remaining work consisting of sanitation pruning. Treatment of the hemlock woolly adelgid is ongoing. In April, 3 hectares of the lower park, representing 102 trees, were treated. The full treatment schedule is available on the town's website. The Town of Truro Art Acquisition Show ran throughout April and received a record of 65 submissions. The selection committee chose 2 winning pieces. Congratulations to all artists for a successful and inspiring event. The town has secured funding through the Canada Summer Jobs Program, which will support 12 summer student employment opportunities. The hiring process is currently underway. Our summer equipment loan program is live. A full list of our available games and equipment can be found on the Town of Truro website. And several community drop-in programs are ongoing, and planning for summer events and programming is well underway. For a list of our programs, please visit our website. Throughout April, the Town of Truro recognized and celebrated several important community dates, including Sikh Heritage Month, Easter, and Earth Day. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much. Councillor Pryor.
Ms. Sims, is there any plans to revamp Victoria Park playground area?
Yeah, the park needs to be updated, and we want to start meeting the needs of accessibility needs as well too. So we are looking at some options of creating a plan for a multi-year plan. Unfortunately, parks are not affordable, so we're something that we're going to have to phase. So we're looking into that this year.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you very much, Councillor. I'm now going to call for a motion to accept all the committee reports. Councillor Talbot, seconder. Deputy Mayor, any discussion on the reports? All those in favor of accepting the reports, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, reports are accepted. Motion is carried. Thank you. We're now moving on to questions by members. You may notice, Council, we had our little bees on our desk today, and that is from Tina Murphy, who met with me the other day, who is starting a Be a Good Neighbor program, a chapter of that in the town. So in the world of negative publicity, negative social media, it is very positive to see something like this. So enjoy your little bee pin, and let's all be a good neighbor. I just want to mention that we were delighted to welcome Brett Lowther to the town hall with the 112th Grey Cup. He circulated that cup all over town. Everyone saw it, businesses and people alike. We're very proud of him. He's a Truro boy, and I was very pleased with the visit, and very honored and grateful to be presented with the Keeper of the Pin by Jeff Mawhinney, who was the keeper of the cup. He said it was only the third time they've ever passed the pin out to anyone, so I was very honored to get it. He said, I asked him why. He said they did their homework on me, so it must have been positive, but you never know it these days. But anyway, but I have the pin, and for all to see it, and it's lovely. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the Truro Junior A Bearcats, and also to the Senior Bearcats for having a great season, great games, and just wonderful to see the success for that this year. And I also want to mention that the Northern Subway Connects girls under 8 hockey team, for the first time in history, have won the bronze in the nationals in Dieppe. And I do believe Councillor Pryor, 18 and under, their group, yeah. And your niece is on that team. What's her name? Layla What is all?
Layla Burrs.
Yeah, well, congratulations to her and all that team. That's just excellent. Do we have any other questions by members? Okay, I don't see any. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. Nobody's lit up here. Okay. My screen.
You lit us all up, and you lit up Councillor Pryor.
Councillor Graham.
You're good?
Yeah.
I have 2 questions, and one is for Mr. Dalter, the other for Mr. Fox, both pertaining to the recent announcement of the land for sale of the hospital site. I really support and think it's a good idea that some affordable housing goes in there. But I was wondering, had the province formally consulted with the town to know what our wishes would be for that site?
I think if they disclosed the package that they had actually sent out for the RFP, the drawing that's in there for the development is actually from us. So that's a drawing that Mr. Fox did up probably 4 years ago. Yeah, about 4 years ago. And we submitted that to the province because, again, we wanted a mixture of density and as well as town housing in there, based on what we saw as the best use of the property. So yeah, we provided that information to the province. Since that time, Mr. Fox, I don't think we've been talked to directly by the province.
Yeah, I was contacted by the province to review the package before it went out.
Okay.
And that they've typically done that with any of the lands they've identified for sale, like the stuff up off of end of McLean went through the same process. So they send me a package to review for accuracy.
Yeah, so I think conceptually what they're looking at is they're offering up that idea as best use of the land. I don't think they're saying that has to be the concept. So they're looking at, the list of people that they put forward as being eligible. That they put something that looks or addresses the requirements similar to what we provided them. So again, I guess we'll see what comes back from it. But yeah, we have provided information, and obviously I talked to Mr. Fox last week. So again, it seems to be positive, and as the mayor indicated, we did have some discussions about 2 months ago. We were told that nothing was going on. So again, it was good to find out last week that something actually was. We did get a heads up before it was actually released. So it is positive.
It is, and again, this is just a comment. I don't expect that you necessarily have an answer. I was a little surprised to hear Minister Ritchie on the radio this morning saying that the proposed, or what we all thought would be a justice centre there as well, the location of a justice centre at this time is unknown. So I was a little surprised by that. But again, if you'd like to comment, if not.
The only information we had, and this is probably at least a year or two old, is that The full property had been subdivided, so I didn't, again, I saw that, the drawing on what the lands that they were talking about while I was away, so I didn't get a chance to check or have a conversation with Mr. Fox. But, Jason, what they're proposing, is that the full site, or is that just the?
No, they've only included the portion that we identified
Okay.
as for housing, and then they retained the portion that we had originally said could be a justice center.
Yeah, so.
I think
so-
over 6 acres for housing, but the full property's 11
Yeah,
acres.
And that's what I'd assumed as well.
Oh, okay.
So the reason Minister Ritchie may be saying that is that if it was subdivided and it's with justice, because again, that's who'd be pushing the courthouse, he may be not aware of any plans that go on for it, or it may be just in hiatus. I think he did mention there was 3.5 million to study the building. So I hope that something will go forward, and they have retained the land, so that's a positive sign.
Okay. The second question, again, regarding the site, just in terms of process, Mr. Fox, any development that happens there, will it have to go through a regular development agreement process? I just, because I know there's some conflict in HRM when it has come to this type of housing being developed. And I'm just wondering.
There's a lot of unknowns there. I wouldn't be able to respond to that question other than to say it depends on what the proposal is. If it's over a certain size, then it may require a development agreement. If it's a provincial initiative and the province is the name on the applicant and the one doing the development, which I don't think is the case, but if that was the case, they can exempt themselves from municipal requirements. So there really is there's too many unknowns there for me to really answer that question.
Okay. So it's just, we'll take it day by day, I guess, and step by step as it comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Let's see, Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Dolter, at a previous meeting, you had made a sort of a sidebar comment about census data and the data that is being collected. And I think you had said that the town doesn't necessarily use all of that because it only comes out every 5 years, but we do use some of that data. Now, this being a census year, I thought it might be an appropriate time to ask what data we do use from the census and what benefit we see there.
The census data certainly impacts us on, a good example would be the financial condition indicators. Our population numbers are used in assessing some of that assessment by the province. We use it in generally reviewing some of our over longer term requirements for infrastructure, and just on our, just our overall growth and development. So I'm looking to staff. I think Jason, you may have some.
Yeah, we use it for polling district review as well.
Yeah.
Another thing we do. Other than that, it is pretty hard. It's not like very detailed information on a large scale. Like some population dwelling count numbers are good, but some of the other stuff like income and that are really higher level and not much use to us at a municipal level. So.
Yeah, the reviews are done is that the one that's done every 8 years?
6 years.
Every 6 years, yeah, okay, so, yeah. So the timing may be right for that, and where we would adjust potentially adjust the wards depending on what the data is. Is it every 5 years, is it? Okay, here we go.
I say it would be rather strange to have the census data coming out every 5 years and the polling review every 6. That would make for an odd usage of the data. And
We are government. It's possible that is the case, but anyways, it would be the first time.
Well, we can always look to see places to improve. The census, filling out the census is a legal requirement as well, I believe. So we make sure.
Yeah, and some of the other thing that does come into play is some of the census data that comes down on family income but average income, mean income. That information is pretty well used to assess. In some other areas as well too. Again, I go back to the FCA, to the financial condition indicators. That kind of affects some of those ratios as well too. So again, it's all useful information. We do tap into it at times depending on what we're doing to just kind of an overview of what's going on in the town.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item 8A, request for decision, community recognition policy, Mr. Dolter.
So thank you, Madam Mayor. So Council has before it a draft community recognition policy to provide a clear and consistent framework for how the town of Truro recognize significant community events, initiatives, and achievements. The policy outlines eligible forms of recognition, and those right now are flag raising, decorative lighting, or certificates of recognition, and establishes guiding principles, eligibility criteria, and approval process to ensure requests are handled fairly, transparently, and in alignment with the town's values. The policy is needed to manage a growing demand for recognition in a way that is inclusive, nonpartisan, and operationally sustainable. By setting clear criteria and processes, the policy helps manage expectations, ensures equal treatment of requests, and protects the town from reputational or operational risk while continuing to meaningfully celebrate community contributions. As well, Madam Mayor, again, because we do like to tie things back to the strategic plan, the policy also helps in aligning us in the leadership and governance, aligning with community engagement, trust, transparency, and operational efficiencies. So again, overall, I'm sure Council's aware, we get a lot of requests, particularly for flag raising. And again, we're Council, from a staff perspective, there needs to be some guidelines so that the public can be aware of what we're aiming to do and to make sure that we're consistent in doing that. So again, the policy is meant to address that. And again, that's I think it is important to bring it forward to make sure that we're doing things with guidelines and everybody's being treated fairly.
Okay.
So the proposed motion is, Madam Mayor, be it resolved that council adopt the community recognition policy as presented. Sorry,
So
my mic on.
I'm looking for a mover.
So moved.
Councillor McGrath, seconder. Councillor Talbot. Discussion? Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Mayor Hinton. I was wondering if we could put off this motion for a month and give our diversity committee an opportunity to review it and perhaps make changes or approve it or whatever for council.
We could. I don't know if I mean, there certainly could be a role. One of the things that I did confirm prior, our diversity coordinator didn't get a chance to review that, the policy. And again, I was aware you had some concerns, Councillor Fleming. So I mean, we could delay until she had such time. Because the document deals with more than simply diversity, I don't know if it's required to go to the committee, but certainly if council wants it to go to the committee, we could do that. I don't know when the next diversity committee meeting is planned.
We don't have one planned, but
Yeah,
we'd have
okay.
one within 2 weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah, so, and the concern, I do have one concern. I know from our diversity coordinator's perspective, she has a good lens to be examining that. The one concern I would have at the diversity committee is there are different, there are different people represented there, and the one thing we have to have some consistency approach, so we're not going in all different directions with the policy. That would be the one concern that I would have from a diversity committee perspective. But again, if that's council's wish, we can table it till.
Respectfully,
yeah.
I believe that's the reason we have the diversity committees, to go over policies like that before we reintroduce it. That's the whole idea of having the committee, in my opinion. But yeah, so I would like to see us have a chance to look it over, and I can't, just on the face of it, I can't see any obvious changes, but I'm not a diverse person, so we'll have to. That's why we'll run it through. Let them look at it in their lens, and then get back to us.
Yeah, and one of the intents would be too is when we get an application, is that the coordinator would actually have a chance to review each application to make sure that that it's being approached properly. But again, if council's wish to put it back through again, the coordinator does sit on the diversity committee.
Yes.
She could certainly give them guidance, but I do feel it's more important that she provide a recommendation back to Ms. Grant on to make sure that there are no changes required.
Okay. So it sounds like either way, it's got to have to be put off until either she has a look at it or
Yeah, I would.
committee or both.
Yeah, again, I wasn't, I just became aware that she hadn't seen it from your email, because I did check. And I would agree, I would be more comfortable if she did see it, so, Madam Mayor, I'm prepared to table this at this point, and then we will bring it back to council in June for,
Okay.
I can't believe it's June already.
I want Councillor Talbot
Yeah.
has a comment.
Yeah, I guess I had the same concern as Mike. Although a number of the requests are from diverse communities, it's not really purely a diversity thing. The requests are very, very broad, so, you know, I have no objections to it being reviewed. I'm just wondering if that's the proper body to do it.
What I, if I could, what I would suggest to council is I'll have the diversity coordinator look at it. If she feels there's a need to bring it to the committee, that can be done. If she's comfortable in feeling she can make a recommendation to Ms. Grant any changes, and then when we bring it back to council, we'll indicate that she has reviewed the document and feels that it meets the requirements, particularly of the the DIA plan that we have in place.
Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. With due respect, I would disagree with Councillor Fleming. Just from my time on the Diversity Advisory Committee was only 1 year, but it was mostly around employment practices within the town. I looked up the terms of reference. Mentions identify ways to eliminate barriers to employment through policies, procedures, and practices of the town, improve representation of designated underrepresented groups in the town of Truro workplace, identify and advise on town-sponsored activities that promote community unity and celebration, so maybe that one a little bit. And then recommended methods of training and data collection will further the goals of the town of Truro with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, I'm not opposed to having our diversity advisor review it and provide her input, but I don't really, just personally, I don't know that this is necessarily something that would go to the diversity committee.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. So where do we stand on this, Council? Do you want to vote on the motion and have either approve or defeat it, or do you want to revoke?
I think the motion's on the
Motion's on the
floor. I
table.
think
We've
we'll
been-
vote on it, and
Okay, let's
if-
do it that way. I
Yep.
think it's best. So the motion's been made by Councillor McGrath, yes.
So you're voting on,
What the
be it,
motion that
yeah,
you
be
read.
it, be it resolved, the council adopt the community recognition policy as presented.
Before our DEI employee and the committee has a chance to look at it. And I might add, can you turn my?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Thank you, and I might add as well, this is a draft, so we're approving a draft, so it can be changed
So-
after she looks at it.
Well, it is a draft only because council hasn't approved it. So
So why are you even gonna have her look at it? If she can't change anything?
well, the thing is, she can always make amendments to it. That's the thing is the
Oh, she
policy.
can?
Yeah, she can make amendments.
So
Yeah.
why doesn't she just write it?
Because it's not all on diversity. It's because it's not just a diversity document. It's to give, lighting. It's for, as you know, particularly with the library, it's, it's all kinds of different occasions. There's all kinds of things that are outside of the diversity realm that this policy affects. Certainly, there are things within the policy that should be looked at from a diversity lens. So,
So why
again,
can't
but
we
she
put it
said,
for the
but our
committee?
plan is to still have her reviewing it. But again, it's,
So I guess if she makes changes, it'll come back to us.
yeah, if there's any monument, if so,
Yeah.
once it's approved, if she comes back, I think it's probably the best way to handle it. If she comes back and suggests some changes, we'll come back with amendment to the policy.
Okay, Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just looking for clarity on the motion here, because if we defeat this, my understanding of the MGA is it would take some time for it to come back again. I think there's a 6 month, but what I'm understanding is that we are looking to,
No, we could bring it back to the next meeting. So if council were to defeat it, then, again, I'd look for instructions on what would be required, and then we would bring it back once that was fulfilled.
Okay, so my understanding then, because I see no issues with the policy as is, so what I'm understanding from the discussion, we are voting on whether or not to approve this policy. Our EDIA coordinator will also have a review. If she has any issues with it, then an amendment will come before us.
Correct.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Councillor Graham?
I will not support the motion as presented, simply because I think it's important that our EDIA coordinator has the opportunity to review it before it comes before council.
Thank you. I'll get Mr. Dolder to read the motion. If we don't agree with it, and I think most of us don't, then we will vote no. Okay, so Mr. Dolder, can you read that motion, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The one thing, okay, I'll read the motion. Yeah. Be it resolved that council adopt the community recognition policy as presented. And the thing that I do want to ask the question of, is it simply the DEIA review that's required? Because I don't want to do that, come back and then somebody say, well, I don't like this part of it as well too. So if we're going to take it back, you know, again, I guess I'll wait for the vote. Sorry.
Okay, all right. I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Got 3.
So we have 4.
4, so the motion has been defeated.
No, it's been passed.
Oh, wait, just a minute. Who passed it?
7.
1,
Yeah.
2. Who said aye? McGrath. Oh, okay, so it has been passed.
It has been
Okay.
passed.
Now, Mr. Dolter, do you want to put some clarification in there, because there has been issues?
Yeah, so what I will do, it has been passed. What we will do is I will have the DEIA coordinator review it. If she's happy with the document, it will not come back. But if there are some recommended changes, I will bring it back to council with those amendments.
Okay. And we spoke earlier even about certificates this morning, you and I.
Yeah, so just so the rest of council can be in the conversation. So with the
Yeah.
certificates, as the policy suggests, there would be a standard certificate to be provided. And again, we think that's important for consistency, even between councils, because personalities change. However, the mayor does like to put personal notes on some of the certificates. That would be something that would, you know, as I said to her, was certificate is fairly standard, but there's nothing wrong with having a personal note, a letter, card, or whatever from either her or another member of council if they have an interest in the individual receiving the certificate. Again, that's a good approach, and that way, you know, staff have a consistent approach to how they're preparing certificates and how those will be presented.
Never hurts to be kind, yeah.
No.
Okay, so we've got that under control. Are we all happy? Are we ever happy? Are we happy today with that? I think we are. So we're going to make those changes, Mr. Dolter, correct? We're going to look at that?
We will have the review conducted, Madam Mayor, yes.
Perfect, perfect. We're moving on to item 8B, briefing note, the Farmers Market Tower visual condition. Mr. Dolter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is again, no decision required at this point, but I did want council to be aware. So this is a briefing note that came to me from Mr. Browning as per request that I made to review the building. So on April 10th, 2026, the town's facility manager visited the site of the farmers market to conduct a visual review of the condition of the exterior brickwork on the existing tower structure of the farmers market. And everybody's aware this is the one that the Truro sign is hanging on. Access was gained to the roof of the building for review. Subsequent review of the tower is conducted by the town's facility manager from within the tower structure on the ground floor on April 24th. Observations that he made, it was observed that there was missing brick in areas of the exterior of the tower structure above the roof level. The structural system of the tower structure is one of multi-weir brick. The brick is the tower's structural system, so there's nothing in addition to the brick. There is also vertical cracking observed in the exterior facing of the tower. It is also observed that parts of the exterior brick of the tower structure have been purged previously, suggesting that the issue has existed for many years, and we have had masons in there previously. The building's janitor's room is located on the ground floor of the tower structure within the building. Water infiltration was also observed within this room on the ground floor, originating from the ceiling above. This space is located directly beneath the tower structure, suggesting that the source of leak is associated with the tower structure and or adjacent roof assembly. Just so council is aware, the roof has been leaking or had been leaking for a number of years, so it may not be the brickwork the water's coming through, it may be just the roof itself. So the initial assessment, the extent of the missing brick observed is concerning and can pose a hazard to the public below an adjacent roof should loose brick become dislodged. Repairing the brick would prove to be costly, as it is likely that the extent of disrepair may span further than what is observed to date. Conversely, removal of the tower structure to the roof level would likely have to be completely manual, as they say, brick by brick. Next steps, a request will be made to Truro Police to fly their drone over the farmers market to obtain more detailed video inspection of the tower structure as well as the roof to further confirm physical condition and formulate recommendations to remediate the situation. This additional information can also be used to determine opinion of costs, of such remediation to bring forward to council during future council meetings. So again, I want council to be aware of this. There's no imminent dangers. We are checking to make sure that all loose bricks are removed. The tower is not going to suddenly fall over, but certainly there is a concern that it may become more serious. So again, we will be monitoring it. And again, we do need it assessed. And we will be reaching out to, once we know what's going on, to get an estimate on what that might be, either to deconstruct the chimney or to repair it if we feel that it's suitable to repair. So again, just a heads up, and I know that I believe Councilor McGrath brought this to us, and when it looks like a few bricks are down, it can become a bigger problem, and I just want council to be aware of that, because again, we may have to make some adjustments in capital budget to address this once we have a better idea of what's going on with the chimney.
Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Dolter, for that recognition that I brought the problem, but it was actually Ryan from the Historium who pointed it out to me while I was over getting a tour, so thank you to him as well. Just regarding the repairs and such, we have that Recover initiative that is looking at the Market Hall right now. Is there any programs that they might be able to help with? And also, this is, I believe, a designated heritage building. Is there anything from the province that could help?
It is not actually a designated building. Confirm, Mr. Fox?
It is municipally designated.
It is municipally designated, sorry, okay, so it's not provincially designated. So yes, it is designated. Again, that's something we can certainly explore. That's, we'll always look at going after grant money. That's once we get a cost, we certainly will pursue any help that we can get in order to deal with the situation. Once we decide on what we're going to be doing, again, yeah, we will look at all the options.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So would you say, Mr. Dolter, in the words of Pink Floyd, it's more than just another brick in the wall?
Well,
Yeah. Would you say that, Councillor McGrath?
To mind. I don't want to make light of the situation. It is
it's serious.
Yeah, it is serious. I mean,
Yeah.
Again, but it's not. So for the public's awareness in the market, I mean, people can go to the market. There's no, if there is, if we feel that the situation is getting worse, we'll take appropriate action to ensure that everybody's safe. But right now, it's just bricks coming out. It's a situation that's developing, and it's probably good that we've seen it early enough that we might be able to remediate and keep the chimney in place. And I think if you notice already, the top part of the chimney has already been replaced or re-bricked, because the top of it's not the original brick. So
that is a much beloved building.
yeah. So we'll look at what the options may be.
Thank you. Item 8C, request for decision, repairs and reinstatement of Burnett Street. Mr. Dolter.
So as a follow-on to Mr. Browning's report, again, we're bringing this to council in order to prepare for the additional cost. So again, I think this kind of repeats what Mr. Browning said, but I think we'll connect it all with this. So on Monday, April 20th, it was brought to the attention of Engineering and Public Works that sinkholes and related settlement of areas of the street within the section of the Burnett Street between Centennial Drive and Adam Street was apparent. The area was reviewed on site by staff that day. The remediation plan was formulated and exploratory and repair work by Webster's Trucking and Excavation Limited began on April 27th on an emergency basis. It was determined that the subgrade soil material immediately underneath the street's asphalt surface was significantly disturbed, likely from a significant water main break experienced within the immediate area in mid-December. Remediation work and street paving on this section of street is expected to be completed by early May. At present, the town has unspent Canadian Community Building Funds accumulated over the previous 3 fiscal years in the amount of approximately $600,000. A portion of these funds can cover the necessary exploratory and repair work on Burnett Street. So, Madam Mayor, the proposed motion is be it resolved the council approve utilizing a portion of the unspent Canadian Community Building Fund accumulated over the previous 3 years to fund necessary exploratory work on Burnett Street that is being completed on an emergency basis. And I will add to amount not to exceed $600,000. It will be far less than that. But since that's available, I will just say to that amount, and we will come back. We won't come back to council. We'll make council aware what the amount actually was once once we know that.
Looking for a mover, Councillor Pryor, seconder, Councillor McGrath. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of, Councillor McGrath?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick clarification, when we're referring to that water main break back mid-December, that was about the same time. We had several water main breaks around the same time. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. I think that was the second of a back-to-back.
Yeah, because I think we had 3 in 24 hours around that time, because that had a significant impact on the snow clearing operations as well. So there was there was a lot happening at that time that may have also contributed here as well, that there was a lot of heavy snowfall while we were having a water main break, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and one of the positives did come out of it too. When we did the excavation, we did some leak detection. We did find that there was another small break that we weren't aware of. We were able to repair that. So again, we feel fairly confident that we've got the leaks, and once full remediation is done, we should be good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Item 8D, request for decision 2025-2026 capital budget carryover.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the 3/4 ton truck replacement for the Public Works Department approved in the 25-26 budget in the amount of $90,000 was tendered and awarded in November 2025, but has not been received. Payment is expected to occur in the 2026-27 budget year, and as such, the funding should have been carried forward into the current capital budget, but it was missed. The funding will come from the capital reserve, consistent with the original budget approval. So, Madam Mayor, proposed motion to be resolved that Council approve the carry over of the 2025-2026 capital budget for the Public Works 3/4 ton truck replacement in the amount of $90,000 to be included in the 26-27 adjusted capital budget and funded by the capital reserves.
Thank you. Looking for a motion. Councillor Graham, seconded Councillor McGrath. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, unanimously approved. Thank you. Well, Council, this now brings us to the end of our agenda for our public council meeting today. I want to thank Council, staff, our CIO, our solicitor, and Stephanie Rowe for being our photographer today. It's all good. Our next public meeting is going to be on Monday, June the 1st at 1 p.m., which looks to be a busy month. Please continue to be kind to each other and be kind to our town. The Town of Truro Public Council meeting today for May the 4th, 2026 is adjourned at 3:27 p.m. Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned. And Council, 5-minute break before we go into an in-camera, one agenda item. Thank you.